At long last, after 3 months we finally got our next SP character, and it is for none other than Mathew. The main protagonist is finally getting the love that he deserves, and they did him some justice. Pardon my voice because I am a little bit sick right now, but if you guys don't know what SP Mathew does, I hope you guys do because I literally made so many videos on this guy. But to put it simply, he ignores skill cost limit, and instead of being near his allies to have that stat increase, those allies just needs to be alive to have his attack and defense be increased. And after he has attacked, he can use a skill that will teleport him to the condition that he was in before he made the attack. That sounds a little bit confusing, I know, but basically, on the turn before he makes the attack, if he makes an attack like within 2 blocks away from the enemy, he can then teleport to the tile that he was in before he moved. And this will actually refresh the skill that he used and put him at the health that he was in. For the class mastery stones, for the armor, HP, attack, defense, headwear, HP, attack, magic defense, weapon and accessory, HP, attack and skill. For the arena stones, I gave him an offensive set because that's what his main playstyle is. You're not going to really do a whole lot of sustaining with this guy. And then if you want to go for a defensive set, then you could go with HP, attack, magic defense, crit down, and crit damage down. You don't need any defense because with his talent, he can already have that defense increase. For the soldiers, angels is going to be one of the more general uses that you can use. And even the Santi mercenary as well. These guys are always really good. Lots of stats increase with self-heal as well. I'll say that the angels and the Santi mercenary both are going to be Mathew's best options. And then mechanical knights are going to be really amazing for PvP because this allows him to negate 2 blocks of mobility restrictions, which allows him to move around the map. And that's going to help him a lot for what he wants to do. For the equipment that I have on SP Mathew, they're all mainly for PvP purposes. For his weapon, you do want the balance blade only for PvP because this will help with this unique AoE skill, which on its own has a terrible range. So having the balance blade will help it quite immensely. If you're more PvE focused, then you want a weapon that's best for a single target. So the Bone Crusher and the Crystal Stinger are both one of the best ones to use. Because the Bone Crusher allows you to reduce the enemy's defense before battle, and the Crystal Stinger will give you more crit while also ignoring some parts of the enemy's defense. For the armor, I gave him the Tiamat's Blessing because his magic defense is really terrible. But some alternatives that you can do are Forbidden Battle Armor, Aeolus, and even the Bloodline Armor. For the helmet, the Fury of Tyr for that skill damage increase alone. But I would say to give this to someone that you know that'll be used for PvP. But if you don't have one of these, then anything else should be fine. I would say for the helmet, I don't think there's really anything too crazy. Like if you have the Aeneas helmet, then that's totally fine on him. For the accessory, Apex Boots, y'all know what this does, gives him that 1 extra mobility. His exclusive can work only for PvE, but to really get the full benefits of that exclusive, he does need to be close to his allies, which will never be the case for PvP. PvE is a little bit more understandable, but if you don't like using his exclusive, which I can totally understand, then anything to increase his attack will be good enough on him. For his enchants, I went with magic because all he's going to be doing for me is AoE. Something else you can do is breeze. I've seen some people do that. Or if you want, Full Moon can be even an option to use. But let's say you're using him for PvE, then Rub C is not that bad, or Meteor. Alright, so hopefully those suggestions helped you guys because his playstyle, PvP and PvE is really different. PvE, you're not going to really notice a whole lot except for him maybe hitting harder since you still use him pretty much the same as you would for the regular Mathew, just without a whole lot of restrictions. But for PvP, it's a whole lot different. And so for the showcase, it's all going to be about for PvP because like I said, for regular content PvE, you still pretty much use them the same way as regular Mathew. So this is the general idea of how you would use them. So I'm going to use Strike to Act again to give myself a little bit more range. Use the AoE right here. His unique 2C skill only allows him to attack from 2 blocks ahead. So let's go ahead and use it. It's going to hit all of them. One-shotting Ariane Rod. I'm not sure about the debuffs. I only know that his health for sure and his skill. And I'm not sure about the buffs on him as well. So let's go ahead and test this theory. Will it actually refresh his or dispel the debuff? No, okay, so he gets to keep his health and he gets a skill back. He doesn't get to keep the buffs on him, and he still has the debuff on him. I wish it made it so it kept the buffs on him, and if he had a debuff, those would go away, because it does state that it will teleport him to the condition that he was in before. So if I were to use his AoE skill once more, he's just gonna chill right there, right in front of the enemies. These things does give some good debuffs too. It will lower their attack while also making them unable to receive any buffs. So with SP Mathew, you do want to really strike with them first, so that you can really mess up the enemy, giving them a hard time setting up. Yeah, if they have a healer, then yeah, those debuffs will be able to be dispelled, but if your opponent doesn't, then that will screw them even more. Even though Mathew will do a whole lot of damage, he still wants someone to help finish the job for him. SP Mathew is a great counter against someone like Gentoki and Epsilon as well, because those two characters like to rely a whole lot on their buffs. And with the way how his teleport talent works, it's really good. It is really good. You may not keep the buffs on him, but he'll be able to have his health back, and it will even refresh his skills, his attacking skills. And his mobility is surprisingly good as well, mainly because of the mechanical knights. And I feel like the insane mobility that SP Mathew can have makes up for the lack of range on his AoEs. I would say SP Mathew is a really amazing character that you can finally use in PvP. More so in a rush comp at least. Just be sure that he's the first one to attack almost always, so that way the enemies have much less options with what they can do, since they won't be able to easily set up on you. There was something else that I never seen like anyone else do. I'm pretty sure SP Mathew can pull it off, but if you have him in his cavalry class, he'll actually have the Shadow Raid skill, which can ignore guard. But if he can really pull it off, he can be used as a assassin. I've never seen anyone do this, even on the CN side, because all they mainly do is use Mathew for his AoEs. That's something I might try for myself. This is something that might take me a few tries to do, but I'm pretty sure SP Mathew can pull something like that off. I just know it. And I will do my best to get something like that for you guys. And there we have it. That was SP Mathew. A really fantastic character to have now, to use even. I really like how they reworked his talent. It is so much better. He no longer needs to be close to his allies to have that attack increase, just as long as they stay alive, and I really like that a lot. The ignore skill cost limit is whatever, because his 3C isn't really all that great, probably one of the worst 3C we have yet. And to top all of that off, his teleport skill. They didn't need to add that, but they did. And the fact that it even refreshes his attacking skill allows him to easily follow up on the next turn. And surprisingly, he'll get far too, especially if you're equipped with the mechanical knights, which he might use most of the time, because that will give him the insane amount of mobility that makes him really dangerous. He will hit hard, like really hard. He's not just disrupting the enemies with his debuffs. Don't focus on Mathew's potential of killing anyone. He'll hit hard for sure, but his main job is to disrupt the enemies with those debuffs. And then he wants someone else to attack with them so that you can overwhelm your opponents. In PvE, you're not going to be using the AoEs a whole lot. If you're going to use them, you're going to be using them just for single targets. And his playstyle isn't really any different from how you would use regular Mathew. Really, the only thing that you'll notice is him doing a whole lot more damage and using his teleport. Is SP Mathew worth it? Yeah, he really is worth it. I would say mainly if you like PvPing. If you're gonna get it for PvE, then it's not really all that worth it. I would say just get someone like Elwyn, Sherry, SP Stone if you haven't already. I would say that SP Mathew is someone that you want last, or if you want him for PvP purposes. And that's all I really have for you guys. If you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more, and feel free to let me know down in the comments what you guys think about SP Mathew. I am super glad that he is finally here. I've been waiting for the day that I could finally use him and put him in my Apex box, because he is going to bring so much value onto the team, and I am here all for it. But yeah, thanks for watching. Your fellow Z.